Hello students and welcome to the lecture. So students, as we know that we are covering the financial knowledge and the banking awareness part of it. Okay. And so far, this is the topic what we are discussing, and you can say not a topic but a series what we are discussing right now. Okay. And so far we have discussed various aspects. We have discussed various organization comes under term of banking awareness. All right. I hope that you have revising the previous lecture properly so that you could have a proper understanding and the command on the upcoming lectures and this lecture also, which I'm going to teach you. Okay. So basically in this lecture, what we are going to study is very, very important from the financial point of view also. Okay. It might be useful for you also. All right. When you will be in your older ages, and as well as it is very important from the economic perspective. Okay, because it is an part of important chain of saving and investments. All right. So basically right now what we are going to discuss this one. Okay. So here are the topics. PFRDA are the main topic about which we will discuss. We will start with the definition, or you can say with the introduction of the PFRDA. All right. Thereafter, what we will discuss after finishing the introduction or the definition part, we will go with the regulation, we will go with the objectives, we will go with the functions and powers, we will go with the initiatives, we will go with the PFM, we will go with the protective measures, and thereafter, in the last, what we will do the summary. All right. So these are the 8 topics about the PFRDA, what we are going to cover one after one. All right. So let's begin our journey. So basically, first thing, what we will do the PFRDA. Okay. PFRDA, you can say definition part. Okay. It's a definition part. All right. So what do you mean by the PFRDA? The Pension Fund Regulatory and Development Authority. It is very important that you are aware about the definition. Okay. Sometime maybe in the questions you will just see this number PFRDA. Okay. And they will ask you to mark the question which containing the right definition. Okay. And that definition could be anything. Okay. Pension fund, provident fund, okay, public fund, provisional fund, whatever they could put there. All right. But if you have revised the concept, if you have gone through the concept properly, then you will be able to find out the correct answer. PFRDA not stand for provisional, public and provident, but it stands for the Pension Fund Regulatory and Development Authority. Okay. By the name itself, you could conclude that basically it is working in the field of pensions. Okay. It is not only a regulatory authority which is required to regulate the pension area, but also they are required to develop it further. Okay. And this is the authority. It means that it's having some rights and responsibilities to discharge of or to exercise respectively. All right. So basically, it's the regulatory body responsible for overseeing and regulating the pension sector in India. All right. So basically, this is the definition part, what we have covered. Now, let's move forward. So basically, in the definition part, what we have to deal with the establishment. Okay. So basically, it was established on August 23, 2003. It is very, very important. Not only you must remember the definition, but you also are required to remember the date of establishment. It is very important. Okay. Under the PFRDA Act 2003. Okay. 2013. Sorry. Okay. Correct it. It was 2003, not 13. All right. So remember this thing. Okay. So basically, when we are talking about this thing, so let me remind you something that in India, basically we have 2 types of body. Okay. First is the 3 types of bodies, basically charter body, thereafter statutory body, and then the constitutional body. Okay. We have discussed it also in the previous lecture. So I think that you have revised them properly and you are able to understood the concept, but here I'm revising it again so that we could you can say sharpen your memory. All right, so basically first is the charter body. What do you mean by this? Charter body is basically the body which has been established by the royal orders. Okay, means the queen or the queen pass some order to establish some body. That body will be a charter body. Like your East India Company, the East India Company was established after passing of the royal orders from the Queen of London. All right, similar thing was here. Statutory body. Statutory body is basically that body which having its own legislation, its own act. Whatever the powers have been granted, whatever the responsibilities the body is required to be discharged of, all kind of things are mentioned in their legislation. So these type of bodies are called statutory body, whereas the constitutional bodies which are mentioned in the Constitution of India. Okay, so when we go with the statutory body, so we know that it's having its own act. All right, now come back to the PFRDA. PFRDA was established by its own legislation, its own act. What does it mean? It means that it is also an statutory body. So keep this thing in your mind. PFRDA is a statutory body which was established after PFRDA Act 2003, not 13, on August 2003. Okay. PFRDA's main objective is to promote and develop the pension system in the country, ensuring the protection of pension funds and the interest of pension subscribers. Okay. So basically, let me give you a little bit overview about the pension. Okay. So basically, whenever we listen the word pension, what comes in our mind? You start remembering that someone in your family, someone in your village, your town, in your nearby neighborhood, okay, who is in the services of the central government and the state government, whether at group D, group C, group A, and group B, respectively, whatever group they are, okay. When they get retired, the government pays them the pension. Okay, mostly people think like that. But pension, when we talk about the pension sector, then it's not only limited with the public servant but also the private people. How? Pension is more like contribution. Okay, it means that whenever you subscribe for some pension scheme, it means that you have to submit certain fixed amount periodically up to certain period. For example, you have subscribed for a pension fund in which it is said that if you contributed rupees 2000 per month for 20 years, thereafter when you get retired, you will be eligible for rupees 10,000 per month, whether do you work or not. It is basically the pension you will get. Okay, it's just an hypothetical example. All right, so pension is basically the fixed amount which is to be submitted to the pension fund on a periodically basis up to a certain period of time. Okay, so that's why it is known as the pension sector. Okay, there are so many schemes, there are you can say various other aspects in the market. So to control this kind of things, PFRDA has its own role. All right, clear? Now let's move forward. Thereafter we have the regulatory authority. Okay, so the first is PFRDA is the statutory regulatory body for the pension fund in India. Why statutory? As I have told you in the previous slide, it was established by its own act. Okay, it operates under the Ministry of Finance, Government of India, and it has its headquarters in the New Delhi. Now there are certain things which is to be remembered for a long time. The first is the act. Second is year. Third is full form. Fourth is headquarter. And fifth is ministry. Okay, these are the important things which we should remember. Go them one by one. Basically, first act is PFRDA. Okay, 2003. Establishing year was 23 August 2003. Full form is Pension Fund Regulatory and Development Authority. Okay, headquarters are at New Delhi. Ministry is Ministry of Finance. Okay, so you can make this as a tidbits. PFRD Act 2003. Year was 23 August 2003. Full form is Pension Fund Regulatory and Development Authority. Headquarters at New Delhi. Ministry is Ministry of Finance. Okay, so remember these points. So this is all about the regulatory authority. Now we have the objectives. Okay, so objectives basically here significance that why do we require a PFRDA? Like if we had established it by passing the law, so there must be some reasons behind it, right? So what were these reasons? We have to find them out in the objective parts. So the first, you can see, promote and regulate pension schemes. As I have told you, pension is basically some kind of schemes in which you are required to deposit a certain amount periodically, and thereafter certain period of time you are eligible to redeem it back, okay, in a fixed amount form. So basically there are so many pension schemes. Some are with interest, some are without interest, some with high you can say premium, some is low premium, and whatever you can say. Okay, so basically the first is promote and regulate pension scheme. PFRDA's primary objective is to promote and regulate pension scheme in India, includes schemes for both the organized and unorganized sectors of the population. Now here are two things. The first is, okay, three things you can say. The first is workforce. What do you mean by the workforce? I had told you so many times. Here I am going to repeat it again. Okay, people who are between the age of 15 years to 60 years, these are the part of workforce. Okay, these are considered as the workforce people. Here there is one thing, please do not go by the fact that why I had taken a 15 years here, because we know a person who is below the 18 years of age is a minor. Okay, and minority is not a employment opportunity in India. All right, so why we are considering 15 years as a part of the workforce? So basically it's just an you can say criteria of the workforce. There is nothing to do about with the other child labor laws. Okay, it's just for an criteria. Okay, so please go by it. Keep these two things separated. Do not mix them, otherwise you will get confused. All right, so basically 15 years to 16 years, the people who falls under this category are the part of workforce. Okay, the second thing is that organized sector. Okay, third is unorganized sector. Okay, so here are two types of sectors, organized and the unorganized. Okay, so let's go by the one. Organized sector is basically the sector which comprises those organizations, those companies which have been established under the proper company law and you can say other legal mandates. Okay, they having their roles and responsibilities towards their employees. All right, because they are being controlled by the legal structure of the government. Whereas unorganized sector comprises those employed opportunities which are not a part of the Companies Act and the other legal mandates, and basically they having not properly guided and regulated by a proper authority. Okay, so these are called the unorganized and these are the organized. Okay, so basically the person who is being employed in the organized sector, he became entitled to explore the legal options with him in case of any exploitation or any ignorance, because he is empowered by the legal mandates, because his work in the organization which is a part of the organized sector, and organized sector signifies the proper, you can say, regulation. Whereas the person who is being employed in the organized sector, he is not a part of any legal mandate, and you can say, honestly speaking, the person who is in the organized sector do not have a sufficient chances to explore the legal options, because they are not being controlled and regulated by any governmental authority. All right. So basically, when we talk about the PFRDA and the pension fund, or you can say as far as we concern them, so basically we not only focus on the organized sector, because these people already having sufficient ways to explore their rights and responsibilities, but we also extend our focus on the unorganized sector. Reason is that because those people do not have a sufficient chances to protect them against the exploitation, and to make themselves aware about the rights and responsibilities of the labors. All right. So that's why these two are included under the PFRD. So here I have told you three things: the workforce, workforce, organized sector, unorganized sector. Okay. So keep this thing in your mind. Okay. Thereafter, the organized sector typically comprises employees in a formal employment. Like I have told you, legal mandate, proper laws and acts. Okay. Everything is being defined and being controlled by a proper authorities. While the unorganized sector includes individuals in formal or self-employment. Okay. Those who have been employed in that organization or a part of that employment, which is not being regulated by any of the government authority or the legal mandate. A second person, those are not employed by anyone, but who are doing their own business. Okay. Who are the self-employed. All right. So these two people are included under the pension schemes. Okay. Thereafter, we have for the organized sector, PFRDA regulates pension scheme offered by employers, such as the Employees Provident Fund, National Pension System for Government Employees. Okay. So basically what happened, as I have told you, when we talk about the organized sector, okay, so by word organized, you should understood that this sector is well-defined mandates. This sector is having a very good, you can say, sequenced activities arranged by the sequence, you can say. All right. So basically, this sector comprises two types of companies. The first are the private employers. Okay. Second ones are the public employers. All right. So when we talk about the private employers, what they have, basically they having their own schemes called Employment Provident Fund. Employment Provident Fund. Okay. If some of you are working, then you must have encountered the PF. Okay. Suppose your gross salary is 36,000, for example, but you are only getting 34,000. It means the 2,000 which is being deducted by the company has been provided to the Provident Fund. Okay. And after a certain period of time, you are eligible to redeem it back if you do not broke it meanwhile. All right. Whereas for public employees, means which for government employees, we have the National Payment System, which we also call NPS sometimes. Okay. So remember, for organized sectors, PFRDA regulates Employees Provident Fund, EPF for the private employers, and the National Pension System for the government employees. All right. Now let's move forward. Thereafter, in the unorganized sector, PFRDA works to create and promote pension products. Okay. Because when we talk about the unorganized sector, okay, unorganized sector, when we talk about it, what comes in our mind first? The things are not being properly organized. not sequentially, no sequence is being followed, no legal mandates has been provided to the employees, whatever you can say. Okay, so that's why in the organized sector the things are already existed, just required a regulation, whereas in unorganized sectors the things haven't been installed properly. It means that you could not directly provide the regulation, but you are required to introduce the you can say concept first. Okay, that's why here PFRDA is not only providing the regulation because the thing is already not existed so that they could directly start the regulation, but they are required to create and promote the pension products first. Okay, so the thing will establish, thereafter regulated. Okay, like the Atal Pension Yojana, APY. Okay, to extend pension coverage and encourage retirement savings among individuals who may not have access to formal employment basis scheme. Okay, it means that those person who have not been employed in that company which having the EPF and not be a part of any government service so that they could explore the NPS. So what should happen with these people? These people nowadays having the option to invest in the Atal Pension Yojana, APY. Okay, so that they could contribute to that scheme on a periodic basis, and thereafter sometime when this scheme get matured or after the retirement, they are eligible to receive their money in a certain ways as a pension. Okay, so remember this thing. Thereafter the second is the protect the interest of pension subscribers. Okay, suppose you have introduced the scheme, you have introduced the regulation, the second is comes the protection. Okay, those people who have explored that particular opportunities, that particular schemes, what are the chances for their protection? Okay, so PFRDA, which is the regulatory authority, it's become very, very essential for it to protect the interest of the pension subscribers who have invested their hardcore money in the pension schemes. Okay, for this, PFRDA is committed to safeguarding the interest of pension subscribers. All right, this means ensuring that the pension funds are managed in a responsible and secure manner and that subscribers' contributions are protected. All right. So you can say, suppose there are 10 people who have been asked to invest rupees 1000, and thereafter the total amount will become 10,000. Okay. Sometime what happens? This 10,000 will be under some pension scheme. Okay, some schemes only want you to give their money, some schemes want you to pool your money and then invest it into certain areas. All right, so both the things you can consider, they are the pension schemes. So these 10,000 is belong to these 10 people. Okay, suppose for example, if the person who is managing or the organization who is responsible for the managing of that particular scheme not handling the particular scheme in a proper manner and they invest it in a wrong place, so that this 10,000 has been stuck, or you can say lost. All right, so in such a case just think about these 10 people who had contributed their hardcore money into a scheme in order to receive a beneficial outcome so that they could enjoy their life after retirement or could plan their future effectively and efficiently. So you can say they will be gone through, right? They have nothing else to do. So in such a scenario, who should require to maintain the pension scheme, the regulations? The answer is PFRDA. Okay, so all these schemes which are running in the market and which are asking the people to contribute the money, whether to invest or just a contribution, all these kind of schemes are being regulated and monitored by the PFRDA. Okay, any person who is having some kind of issues with this scheme could reach the PFRDA for a solution because it's a apex regulation authority in the field of pension sector. All right, so remember this thing. Okay, thereafter PFRDA establishes rules and regulations to prevent malpractices and mismanagement of the pension funds. Okay, to maintain the schemes, PFRDA is required to regulate. Okay, and how do you regulate? What is required to being regulated? It's required a proper plan of action, like what are the actions should be taken, what are the precautions which should be taken, and this kind of things could be only decided by once you have set of rules and regulations. You haven't decided the criteria which is to be followed, right? You haven't decided the precautions which have to be taken, and then you go and you say that this is unethical because it is unethical. Does it make sense? No. But if you have designed rules and regulations properly and provided it to the pension funds, and then you go and say this is unethically and illegal because it has been against the rules and regulations. So now you have a proper source to prove that the particular thing which is being done is wrong, right? So that's why PFRDA established the rules and regulations in order to the protection of the interest of the pension subscribers. Okay. It's required to prevent the malpractices and the mismanagement of pension funds. Got it? It also monitors pension fund managers to ensure compliance with these regulations. It is not only their job to to establish the rules and regulations, but it is also their job to go after the fund managers and the pension schemes to ensure that they are maintaining the compliance with these regulations or not. Okay. Third is the develop and regulate the national pension system and other schemes. Okay, means NPS and the other schemes. National pension system is basically for what? For the government employees. Remember this thing. If the question asks you, the NPS is a pension scheme for which type of people? So remember, it's a public servants or for the government employees. All right, and other schemes. And national pension scheme is basically for the central employees. State pension schemes are basically for the state employees. Okay. The national pension system is a significant pension scheme regulated by the PFRDA. It means the subscribers of these pension schemes are being under the protection of the PFRDA, or you can say PFRDA is protecting them. Okay. It is a voluntary long-term retirement savings schemes that allows individuals to accumulate a pension cost during their working years and receive a regular pension during retirement. Voluntary, here's a one word. Voluntary. What do you mean by it? It means that it is not mandated that you should invest in it. Okay, there is no particular restrictions that you should invest in it, but it's a voluntary. If you want a proper safe investment so that you could have a better return after the retirements, then voluntary you can avail this scheme. Okay, if you do not want to, there is no restrictions and no mandate form that you should and you have to. Okay, so basically it is for the voluntary long-term retirement savings, allows individuals to accumulate a pension corpus during their working years while you are working and receive a regular pension during retirement when you get retired. All right. Thereafter, PFRD's rules includes the development and the regulation of NPS, which involves setting investment guidelines, defining fund management procedures, and ensuring that the NPS remains on attractive and secure retirement saving option for subscribers. So here are the some things which you should keep in your mind. You could also make the notes if you want to. First is in order to regulate the NPS, what the PFRDA does. PFRDA first sets out the investment guidelines. Okay, like what are the guidelines to be followed while you are investing your money. Okay, terms and conditions you can say. Okay, thereafter defining fund management system and procedures, like the person who is voluntary avail the NPS. The person must be transparently aware about the facts and figures of the scheme. It means defining fund management procedures. Okay, so in nearby future, if the person having any kind of thing adversely, so that these terms could be used in that case. Okay, ensuring that the NPS remains an attractive and secure retirement savings option for subscribers. All right, if the person finds out that NPS is transparent, the NPS having a proper suitable guidelines, so that the NPS will become an attractive, and that's only the people will come to the NPS, because as I have told you, NPS is basically for the voluntary purpose. It is not necessary, not mandated that you have to be the part of NPS. It's up to you. Okay. And in order to make people aware about the NPS, because it is being controlled by the government directly, that's why it is to be ensured that the NPS should be remain attractive and secure retirement schemes. Okay. So that the maximum people will be in the safe hands of the government. All right. Thereafter, in addition to the NPS, PFRDA is involved in the regulation and development of other pension related schemes like the Atal Pension Yojana. Okay, here we have just discussed it now, and I'm reminding you again. Please remember the APY. If the question asks you, the APY stands for which? Full form is Atal Pension Yojana, and it is named after whom? It is named after our honorable late Prime Minister, Mr. Atal Bajpai. Okay, it is named after him. All right. And second thing, it is for which sector? It is for unorganized sector. Okay, so these are the things which you should keep in your mind. First, APY stands for Atal Pension Yojana. Second, it is named after the late Prime Minister, Honorable Mr. Atal Bajpai. Second, it is for the unorganized sector. Okay, so other than NPS, PFRD is involved in that kind of scheme also, and various initiatives aimed at enhancing the pension sector in India, and initiatives we will discuss in this part. Okay. Okay, the fourth point is that encourage the establishment of pension funds and the fund managers. All right, so that more and more people could participate, and fund managers basically means the professionals who are able to handle the things properly. All right, PFRDA plays a vital role in encouraging the establishment of pension funds, and the pension funds manager includes both public and private sector entities. Okay, not only they are promoting the public entities because they are also a government company, but they are also promote the private players, so that the options could be more and more in the market, and the people or the subscriber of the pension fund could have more and more chances to enhance his investment that manage pension assets on behalf of the subscribers. All right. By promoting competition and diversity in the pension fund management industry, PFRDA aims to enhance the efficiency and effectiveness of pension asset management, ultimately benefiting pension subscribers. As I have told you, if there are more players in the market in the pension sector, it means the subscriber will have more and more options, and this will enhance the healthy competition, so that there must be some efficiency and effectiveness of pension asset management, and ultimately benefiting the pension subscribers. All right. So students, basically in this lecture, we have finished with the definition, regulation, and the objectives of PFRDA. In the next lecture, we will continue with the PFRDA, and we will see some other aspects. Till then, just revise the facts and figures we have discussed in this lecture and be ready for the another lecture. With this note, let's end this lecture and say thank you.